an impeached president who lost the popular vote by 3 million votes, acquitted by Republican Senate majority representing 15 million fewer Americans than their Democratic Senate minority colleagues, and installed by an electoral college built by slave owners to disenfranchise the minority vote, will cement a third justice on the US Supreme Court. And he has openly declared that he is doing so to ensure the court and not the people will decide the result of the 2020 election. By no definition can this be called democracy. This is minority rule. This is how democracy dies. Let's get into it. There is so much going on in US politics, it's almost impossible to keep up. However, statements made by Trump only a few days ago have not received enough attention and prove beyond any doubt what I have been saying since I started this channel over 8 months ago. Donald Trump does not intend to relinquish his power if he loses in November. He does not intend on partaking in a peaceful transition should he lose, and he does not intend on leaving the decision to the voters of the United States.
Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens. You know that I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster.
We will have to see what happens. That is not how democracies work. The Trump administration is admitting publicly that they intend not to accept the result of the election. He then goes on to say America should simply remove the ballots.
I understand that, but people are rioting. Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transferal of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and we'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
Get rid of the ballots, and there won't be a transfer. Frankly, there'll be a continuation. Let's be perfectly clear about what this Cheeto-stained dictator is saying. He is saying either no one should be allowed to vote, or that the votes casted should not be counted. He is saying that the entire system is rigged, it can't be trusted, and you should therefore accept the continuation of the status quo. You should simply forfeit your right and responsibility to vote and kneel before your new leader. But if that isn't enough, fine. He won't declare himself president. He has a newly installed team to do it for him.
With the unsolicited millions of ballots that they're sending, it's a scam, it's a hoax, everybody knows that. And the Democrats know it better than anybody else. So you're going to need 9 justices up there. I think it's going to be very important because what they're doing is a hoax with the ballots.
This is where America is. This isn't a joke. The President of the United States is saying that he does not want the people of the nation to elect their leader. He thinks their vote should not count, and that the decision should be made by an overtly conservative Supreme Court, of which Trump would have installed 3 justices. Let me make a prediction, a horrifying and tragic prediction. On November 3rd, people line up to vote in person or submit postal votes to participate in their civic duty, all across the nation. Now, these in-person ballots are able to be counted much faster than postal votes, even faster than early postal votes, which in many states are not allowed to be opened or counted until the day of the election. Now, who do you think is more likely to stand in line and vote in person during a pandemic? The people who believe in science, or the supporters of a party that think the pandemic is a democratic hoax, that windmills cause cancer, that climate change is a Chinese hoax, and that Trump is saving the world from a cabal of baby-eating pedophilic cannibals? Exactly. As a result, I predict that Trump will have a lead at the end of November 3rd, even though a large portion, if not a majority of the vote, would not yet be counted. He will then immediately sue, claiming that mailed-in ballots are potentially fraudulent, resulting in a freeze on counting until the decision goes, drumroll please, to the Supreme Court. where the case will be heard by a litany of fundamentalist conservatives, including one who cried at his confirmation and blamed the Clintons for him allegedly assaulting a woman in college. Now tell me, how do you think that decision will go? And as if it couldn't get any worse, Barton Gellum wrote a horrific piece in The Atlantic entitled "The Election That Could Break America," outlining the lack of checks and balances you can rely on to stop Trump cronies from simply appointing their own electors. Gellum explains in this article the GOP plan to bypass election results should Trump not win in November. Gellum was also on MSNBC with Katie Tur earlier this week, and this is just some of what he had to say.
The president has made it clear by word and deed and just by psychological disposition that he will in no event concede defeat in the election. That's a big problem because concession is how we end elections. There is no umpire. Trump has spent months now discrediting the legitimacy, and there will be endless litigation, potentially on the scale of the Florida recount litigation in 2000, except in multiple battleground states. We're accustomed to the idea that we vote, and based on the popular vote in each state, the electors are apportioned. So you win the state's electoral vote if you win the state's majority in public vote. That's not in the Constitution. The Constitution says that the electors are chosen by each state legislature as it sees fit. And so all of them, since the middle of the 19th century, have said, we'll do this by popular vote. But the Supreme Court ruled in 2000 that the state legislatures can take back this power from the voters at any time. And so Trump's people are talking about a maneuver in which they would go to the Republican state legislature in a swing state like Pennsylvania or Michigan or Florida and say, we think the official vote count is cooked, it's crooked, it's rigged, throw in all of your made-up charges. And you should therefore, as a legislature, appoint Trump electors to represent what you believe is the faithful depiction of the will of the people of the state.
This is not, nor has it ever simply been, a disagreement over policy. I disagree with Republicans and conservatives on a fundamental level. However, everyone has a right to stake their claim and put forward their case. And those differences should be decided at the ballot box in a free and fair election. And it has become blindly clear that the Republican Party and their cult leader does not believe in democracy and do not intend on holding a free and fair election. This is the last gasp of a minority party doing all it can to hang on to power. Trump has already decided the fix is in. He's decided that the votes will not count. He is not running for re-election, he is running against the election. Worse yet, even Republicans knew all along what a Trump presidency would look like. They knew he was a fraud, a cheater, and a con man. But they have tied their wagon to this unpopular demagogue, and they know the only way to retain their power is to go all in.
I'll tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
I'm not going to try to get into the mind of Donald Trump because I don't think there's a whole lot of space there. I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
What do you think a Trump government would look like, Senator?
It would be chaos. He is wholly unprepared to be president of the United States. There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
That's his own party. Those are his golf buddies today, his bootlickers. It has never been about defending democracy for the Republican Party or for Trump. It has always been about raw, unabashed power. And they will do anything to retain it. 200,000 Americans have died for them to retain their power. And if it costs another 200,000, it's clear they wouldn't mind. Their attacks on the free press, on voting rights, on the post office, on protesters can only be seen as undemocratic. Their hypocrisy regarding appointment of justices know no limits, and they will never act with integrity or in the best interest of their nation because They never cared about it to start with. There is no second chance here. At every stage of counting, Joe Biden needs to be in the lead. Biden needs to win in what can only be described as a clear landslide. Democracy is on the ballot, and you can either vote for Trump or for America. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and hit the bell so you stay up to date with all of our videos.